and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Conversations in Wellness. This is where we talk to various people about various aspects of wellness, just to kind of air issues that are of importance to you. So today we're joined by the amazingly effervescent Nicky Clarke. Nicky is a spiritual life coach and a mindfulness coach. So we're going to learn a little bit about what those things are, because those titles sound amazing. And we're going to be talking about chapter 2. So intriguing. What does that mean? We're going to explore that today. So stick around. And Nicky, could you tell us a little bit about you to start off with?
Thank you so much, Natalie, for having me. Oh, I'm so excited. So I'm 51 years old. I am pursuing my dream. I am a coach. I'm a mother of 3 amazing grown children. Been married for 31 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Right there.
I am loving my chapter 2. I'm also been certified in the aliveness method and the aliveness activator, which I'll say a little bit more about later. But I am a mindfulness coach. So I do practice mindfulness, and the spiritual life coach is all along the lines of coaching, being able to know that there's something bigger than us and how to tap into that. So it's all integrated into one, but I just love what I do.
Sounds very meaningful. Why would someone plug into one of your coaching programs? What would be aching in a person that would say, let me book a couple sessions with Nicky and talk through some things?
Well, Natalie, honestly, the world that we're living in now, we are presented with a myriad of issues, whether it is from depression to not sure where to go, which direction, what we're working with, how do we navigate what we're actually working with. So, my clients range from self-worth and all of that to where do I go from here? I'm feeling stuck. What do I do? Do I need a change? To navigating this new phase of their life called our beloved chapter 2. So it's actually a myriad of issues. It is a myriad of issues, which we all deal with, but we don't talk about them.
We don't. And when we were talking before we started recording, I think this is one of the things that our moms and dads never really spoke to us about. So, we might not be really equipped. We might not be really equipped to handle what's coming. And some of us don't even know what's coming. And we're talking about things to do with changes in relationships, in the relationship dynamics, the dynamics in your home. We're talking about physical changes, emotional changes, hormonal changes. When you talk about this chapter 2, I'm realizing that there's a real shift. And I think I'm on the brink of it.
Yay!
I've got one daughter off at university. I've got one in high school, and I've got one in her last year of prep school. And we're talking about the transitioning, and I'm realizing that in about 4 years, I may not have anybody in my home because I'm a single mother, right? So I'm divorced, happily divorced, very, very working divorced relationship, which I'm very grateful for. But yeah, and then there's the changes. So I myself just said to my trainer the other day, I work so hard, I want to look like this girl. And he goes, Natalie, that girl is 23. Get over yourself. But these are the images that even me, a sensible grown ass woman, knows that I can't look like a 23-year-old that's never had a child, right? But we're bombarded by these images. So we've got the self-worth and the self-doubt and the questioning and all that stuff. So I see where these are some very real issues. And I think the work that you're going to be doing, or you are doing in this, is really important. So what are some of the things that we can start to expect as being different as we enter our chapter 2?
Well, first of all, chapter 2 can be very beautiful, and it can have its drawbacks without a doubt. So how you transition into your chapter 2 is all up to you. But the key is to be aware of when it surfaces what to do. So as you touched on, you have the emptiness. So your kids are grown, they're out of the house. You've gone from this constant mother role into, I actually have time for myself. Am I allowed? permission. What do I, and then what do I do with this time? So you're shifting into that, oh my God, I don't know what to do for myself. So you have your emptiness, and then of course all the emotions that come with that. Does your children need you anymore? You know, your role has changed. So that's where you now transition into navigating a relationship with your adult children. You're no longer, I'm your mother, you do as I say. You're now, what role am I? You know, are you their mentor? Are you their coach? Right. Are you their sounding board? What are you to your kids? Because let's face it, Natalie, your kids are going to do life their own way. And we're not going to like a lot of their decisions. And that's not for us to choose. Our choice is, how do we navigate that relationship? Yeah. So you're now into a new phase of how do you navigate that relationship with your kids? You touched on the aging process of, okay, so here comes menopause. And let me tell you something, Natalie. I did a post the other day on my Instagram, and I used the word menopause. And I cannot tell you how many people were like, thank you. It's like a dirty word that nobody wants to talk about. Women especially don't want to talk about. It's like we talk about a phase, or we talk about a time, or the reality is it is the onset of menopause. And with that comes changes from, as you said, physical changes. Here it is, you exercise and you eat beautifully and you're just on top of everything. All of a sudden, you just start to get bigger and you're like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. It's now more getting into that acceptance stage. So with the Chapter 2 Unleash, that's what I do, is I teach how to view your body as this beautiful vessel. And whether it is that you have to start buying clothes, that rather than trying to squeeze into the jeans that you had 15 years ago and then you get pissed off, okay, come on, let's move on.
It's because it's too hot and my body is sweaty, and that's why they're not going on.
Those are your excuses. So we talk about the physical changes, but then again, we have the mental changes, as you know, as a wellness coach, that you have these emotional roller coasters. So that goes into for yourself and all the people that you're around, from your spouse, your partner, your kids, your staff. So you have to learn how to navigate, because this is happening with or without us.
Without your permission, right? Without your permission. Right, so
we don't have the permission.
Let's dial it back a little bit. So we're talking about this conversation is focused predominantly on women, but men do go through a lot of these shifts, because they have shifting hormones, and they have to deal with their changing wives. They have to deal with their changing emotions, right? The grumpy old man syndrome. They have to deal with their children going off. But we're really talking to the ladies in this conversation. So as we're getting closer to that period, menopause is defined as that point where your period is actually beginning to stop, right? Beginning to stop. So you're missing periods and things like that. Perimenopause is that period leading up to it, where the hormones are shifting. So what I think people may not fully recognize, because our moms did not talk to us about this stuff, right? Progesterone starts to fall, making you a little estrogen dominant. This can lead to moodiness, crankiness, anxiety, irritability, weight gain, right? These are all very real things. Changes in your skin. Like I literally looked at my ankles the other day and thought, how is it possible that my ankles are starting to look old? But the skin is changing, right? The consistency, regardless of moisturizer. I take my collagen daily, and I recommend that people do. Very important, right, Nikki?
I get it from your beautiful store.
Take your collagen daily. And then there's herbs and supplements that can help manage what's going on. But you are not, and I want to reiterate this to the women out there that are thinking, am I going crazy? You're not going crazy. There are some very real underlying physiological changes that are happening to you. You may find that you are cranky, or you're more quick to anger, you're a little bit more irritable, or all of a sudden noise bothers you where noise didn't bother you before. All of a sudden you feel the heat, and I'm not even talking about getting to that personal summer stage, but you may just feel the shift in temperatures a lot more dramatically. What I define it as just being closer to that breaking point, that edge, where something shifts and all of a sudden you're uncomfortable in your skin. It can be, it can manifest as a feeling of strangulation, a feeling of tightness in your chest, just like a dis-ease, and people are just pissing you off and you're like, why is everybody pissing me off today? You know, it's kind of like maybe what you felt like when you first got your period and you didn't understand what PMS was like, you know?
Yep.
So you are not going crazy. Talk
Absolutely
to
not.
someone like Nicky.
Talk about it. As you said, nobody talks about it. And our parents, that generation, don't talk about it. No. If you go to them, maybe they will. And like me, my mom passed away when I was 19. So I don't have her to talk to about it. So, and a lot of people don't. So there is support. And what is happening to us, Natalie, is real. It is so real, but people just brush it off. It's life, it's the heat, it's the summer, it's the ozone layer.
Stop being so emotional, Nicky, right?
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And then COVID gives us a whole lot more excuses and reasons to just get our buttons pushed a lot more. So there's some talking, there's support that's there for you. There's vitamins, there's herbs. There really is a lot of stuff that can help support you emotionally. And I think between Nicky and I, we can do a lot of good work. Me from the nutrition standpoint, and Nicky from the mindfulness, you know. And mindfulness is a word that we hear, it's bantered about. Mindfulness and gratitude. A lot of people talk a lot about it. But define mindfulness for me, Nicky. What do you mean when you talk about it?
Absolutely. I mean, as I call it, a buzzword. Everywhere you go, it's this buzzword. Oh, mindfulness. What does it mean? Basically, mindfulness is living now, exactly what you're feeling now. Not what happened yesterday, and we're certainly not planning for tomorrow. It's what's happening now. So whether it is you're feeling, for a physical standpoint, you're feeling bloated, or you're feeling mentally drained. Why? What's going on? You know, let's journal about it. Let's talk about it. Let us bring to the surface what is happening now, because as women, especially mothers, we don't look about that for ourselves. We put it off, we put it on a to-do list, and then that comes the future. So we're not living mindful. I mean, when I started my mindfulness training and became a coach, I don't know, over 2 years ago, the first exercise that we had to do was to wash our hands. And when you wash your hands, you were supposed to know, you were to document the temperature of the water, you were to the consistency of the water, the pressure of the water. I mean, you really had to focus in on the water. Now, when you wash your hands, how many of you are actually smelling the soap? You're thinking about, oh my God, I have to go to the supermarket. Okay, what have I done? You're not thinking about now. It's a simple thing, Natalie, but it definitely trains you into what's happening within your body. What is happening now? Because what ends up happening is when we dismiss it, it's not going away. It's not going away. It's going to come back, and it's going to come back larger. And this is what I'm seeing with the clients, is that they've put it off, and they're like, what do I do now?
Right. So, and you know, we've got so many things to detract our ability to be mindful and present. Small short story. I was with friends recently, sitting around a table, and everybody was like, pick up their phone. And someone said, let's all put our phones in the center of the table, and we're going to go for a half hour. Nobody touch phones. Let's talk. And let me tell you, when that timer went off for a half hour, everybody was like, oh, into the phone, right?
Serious?
But
wow.
The phone is, I'm here with you, but I'm really here, and this is more important than that. So I'm not present. I'm not being mindful. I am so focused on taking a beautiful picture of that sunset that I'm not enjoying the sunset, you know? So what are some of the things, like that washing the hands exercise, what are some other things that we can do to cultivate mindfulness?
Oh, Natalie, from you wake in the morning to go to sleep at night, it's everything from you get in the car, put down the phone. You're not supposed to use a phone when you're driving. Put on a song that is naughty. But I mean, it's natural. But even for me, like if I'm driven to Kingston for something, because I don't live in the city, I find I have to force myself to put down the phone to just look outside. If I'm looking at the trees, I'm looking at the cars, I'm looking at the people, because your automatic reaction is that. From your sip of coffee in the morning, put the phone down, go and sit on the veranda or your patio or wherever it is and look at the trees, listen to the birds. It is such a simple exercise people don't do. I mean, I was off on the North Coast for the weekend, and I made a point every morning to walk to the sea, to the ocean, and just listen and just take in the sounds, take in the smells, take in the energy. And that was almost like a sip of my, intake of a coffee or a tea, so that I could then, it kind of sets the stage for the day. And then, of course, that all leads into this whole chapter 2 thing about being in your present state of putting on a swimsuit. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure I'm loving this, how this swimsuit is looking on me. But then you go into that mindful acceptance stage of, wow, look at me. I look fantastic in this swimsuit. You see what I'm saying? So you get into that mindful state rather than you're worrying about what your stomach looks like. What does my hips look like? What does my, what do my boobs look like? What, do I have enough wrap to cover a foot? It's all gone. It all goes.
So we're moving from mindfulness and talking a little bit about acceptance. And, it's a fine balancing act, because we do want to do the most that we can do so that we feel our best. And we do tend to feel good when we know we look good. So it's sort of like a little bit of a cycle, but there's a blossoming, I guess, movement that is appreciating what older can look like, right? And I know the scales are a little tipped. I think the scales are a little tipped, or maybe I think they're tipped because I'm a woman. But you look at men and you go, ooh, that gray beard looks good on him. Ooh, look at that, touch of gray at the temples. He's looking, and you overlook the fact that there's a little paunch that's coming with that stuff, but we look at ourselves and we go, ooh, there's gray hair. Ooh, there's wrinkles. So it's almost like we think we have like a double standard that we are setting, where we're thinking the guys are looking okay as they get older, but we're not looking so good as we get older, and there's that. So what's that about? Is that the influence of media, or do we need to do some better self-talk?
You know what? I think it's a combination. It's definitely to do with media, but it also is about you and the mindset that you have around yourself. So for instance, I go back to the jeans argument. So you think, oh, I can't gain a little weight or whatever. And you go and you try on the jeans. And when the jeans can't even go past your hips, you go into this spiral of negativity and self-worth and the ugliness. You go through this whole mental chatter. Now let's face it honestly, if we didn't try on those jeans, that wouldn't have surfaced. We may have it sort of back here. So how do you tackle that? You move, you flow with it.
Buy bigger jeans and get over it.
But this is about experiencing the bold you now. So this is what I was trained in, is stepping into the bold you. Who are you now? So embracing that bold you is all about acceptance. So it's a matter of, all right, well, I'm just going to accept the fact that I'm fat. Okay. It's not that at all. It's not about accepting that you're fat. It's accepting that this new person that is emerging, like caterpillar, cocoon, again, butterfly, this new person in this new phase of your life is emerging. So no, I can't fit into the clothes I was in when I was in my 20s. I can't fit into the clothes that was maybe 3 years ago, thanks to COVID. But so what do? I don't sit there and go, well, no, I say, all right, so off we go. We go now, and I buy clothes that are an expression of me. So whether that's a flowy skirt or it's a long linen dress that really gives me that freedom and the movement, and I still look beautiful, but it's not that I'm buying bigger clothes.
I write this down. No, I love this. Stepping into the bold you.
Stepping into the bold you. It's about accepting that this new person, this new unleashed, and this is where my unleashed part, chapter 2, unleashed, that I do, is unleashing this new person that's emerging in your current mindfulness time right now. So I'm embracing who this beautiful person is, and I'm going to go with her. I'm flowing with her. What is it that she wants? I'm not going to force her into those tight jeans and make myself miserable. No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go in and do a beautiful flowy dress that makes me look like $1 million. And I feel like $1 million. Back to what you said about we want to look good and we want to feel good. That's all on you.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I once listened to one of those, you know, those like designer do-over shows, and the woman, I think her name was Stacy, said, dress the body you have.
Exactly.
You know, so if you do have, like, there's some things that are gonna make your little tummy show up wrinkly, and then there's some things that are gonna make you look like you don't have a tummy. And if that's what you feel better in, then choose that, you know. But let's talk a little bit about each other and how we are critical of each other, because I find this is very real. I may live in my head, and I live in a bubble that I create, and I'm very happy with my bubble. And I still wear cut-off jean shorts, right? So catch me on a day, and I don't care that I could be a grandma, that I have a daughter old enough to make me a grandma. I'm wearing my cut-off. Now, maybe if I had spider veins, I might not, you know, maybe if I wasn't comfortable, I might not, but I still choose to. And I see the women of my cohort, maybe a little older, and I've seen the looks, and I don't know if they know that I've seen the looks. And I personally am a very strong character, and I've really gotten to the artful phase of I don't really give a, you know the word, right? But I don't think that every woman is there. I think we do care about the acceptance. And let's talk a little bit about how we are critical of others and how we allow our fear of others' criticism to impact us.
Well, I mean, you're back to the people pleasing stage. So when you wear your cut-off shorts, where are you wearing those cut-off shorts for? You're wearing them for you. Exactly. So once you get into that mindset, because that's what it is, people are going to judge you and criticize you whether you like it or not. That's just a fact of life, because that's their problem. Maybe that's their own fears. Maybe that's their own issues that they're dealing with. That's none of your business. And I tell people that all the time. Everybody is entitled to their opinion and their judgment. That's none of your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is important is how you view your own self. And like you are confident in your body and you're okay, and that's fantastic. And it's not until you embrace that bold, loving yourself unconditionally that you will get to that stage, because then it becomes wearing the cutoff shorts for everybody else, or am I wearing the blouse that may show a little more cleavage? Oh my God, you know, do you like your cleavage? Absolutely, wear it. Everybody's going to judge you. People are going to judge you. Whether you wear a sheet over your head, from your head to your they're going to judge you. And that's really none of our business. And this is where I've also gotten to the stage of say what you want to say. It's also like social media. When you go online and you do these videos, or you do post your photos, immediately when I started doing this, back in the day, I would never post a photo of myself, Natalie, without lipstick and hair done and do all these things. Now, because that wasn't who I was. Now I'll post a photo, as long as I'm not butt naked, I will post a photo because this is who I am. You don't like what you see? Keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Just keep scrolling. I don't need you to like that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's about accepting each other, but it's also about accepting yourself, because that's where it starts. It starts with you.
Yeah. So what are some things that we can do? Because I like to boil things down to nuggets that we can actually implement. What are some of the things that we can do to cultivate acceptance of self?
Oh, well, I mean, there's so much. I mean, from you start in the middle of from you're getting dressed in the morning, you do your daily mantras where you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I may not love everything about you today, but you know what? I'm going to look after you today. Whatever it is that you give yourself that recognition that it's okay to not be okay mentally. It's It's okay that if you put on a pants or whatever, maybe your tummy is sticking out, or maybe whatever is too tight, it's okay. But you know what? I feel good. So it's a matter of giving yourself that acknowledgement that you're beautiful no matter what. But again, I say, Natalie, it's about you. Do not wait for somebody to come along and say, oh my God, I love your clothes. Oh my God, I love those jeans. Don't bother waiting on that, because that's not going to happen. If it happens, woohoo, you know?
Yeah.
Also, give it to people. Be in service to others, Natalie.
Yeah.
We like to hear it. We like to hear that we're beautiful. We like to hear that what we're doing is worthy and we're doing a great job. So why not give it? Be in service to others.
Yeah. You know, it's so true. And we love it when a random stranger says something nice to us. It makes us feel good. So be that random stranger for someone else. I was walking through the supermarket the other day, and I was man in my own business. I had on a little black tank top and a red knee-length skirt. I mean, I just, because I have this whole corporate wardrobe from my previous life. So, I mean, I could come to work in jeans and a t-shirt every day, but I choose to, dress up because I like how I feel. And I'm walking through the supermarket and this lady goes, I hope you feel as amazing as you look.
Oh, and I was like, I love that.
Well, she just set me off. And it's like slightly a vanity thing, because you like to know that you, but I got the feeling
not vanity. It's not vanity. It's not vanity. It's not. We are human beings, Natalie. We crave that. We need it.
Yeah.
It's not vanity. It is who we are. Yeah. So when you give that, like that lady gave you that compliment, guess what? You're going to pass it on.
Absolutely.
This is about supporting each other in this journey of life.
Yeah, in a real genuine way. And I did get the feeling that she was speaking maybe less about how I looked physically and more about like the energy. And I think that's because you started out by saying that you're living your passion, and that's what I do too. I love what I do, and I think that when you love what you do, there's a light inside of you that shines out. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think we have our parenting roles may kind of free up a little more time for us to take care of ourselves. And we spoke about, is it selfish to do something for ourselves? What can we do for ourselves to make but maybe this is also a time in our life where we can start to do work that we consider more meaningful, because maybe we have done our duty in earning what we needed to earn to contribute to our families in ways that may not always have made our souls sing. So we may have sacrificed that real heart-centered work for the very important reality of making sure that bills got paid, and now as we're getting a little older, maybe we have a little bit saved up and we're able to transition into something more heart-centered. How does that play a role now in chapter 2?
Well, let me tell you something. My post that I did this morning was about the things that nourish us, the things that we look forward to. Not like, for instance, doing my hair and my nails was always on my to-do list as far as something that it just had to be done. That was like non-negotiable. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely not. And now in the chapter 2, because this is about me, this is about the journey of embracing the bold me and loving me. I now schedule it. I make sure to schedule it. This is my time. Do not disturb. But women have an issue. A lot of women have that reservation, then, if you will, that kind of stuff is selfish. That kind of stuff is unnecessary. You talked about the grays earlier. Listen, if you want to go full head of gray and feel fabulous and beautiful, absolutely. If it is that these gray hairs really don't resonate with you now, all power to you. But whatever you do, whether it is you go get your hair done, your nails done, you exercise, which I know you're big on, whether it is that you take a soak in the tub, whatever it is, it can be as small or as large as you want. You can go and take a weekend vacation once a month if you can afford to do that. Maybe it is just a soak in the tub once a week. But as long as you're doing the things that nourish you and nourish you as well as bring you alive, and you add more of that, that's your chapter 2, because you're now honoring who you are, the authentic you. We were in roles before, Natalie, as you said. We were in a role of a mother. We may have been in a role of a wife. We were in a role of a corporate world. And those were all great stuff and worked for you then. Now, when you shift into a new phase, you need to shift that mindset with that you're no longer following your dream, living in a corporate world. So why would you wear your corporate clothes? Why would you do all the things you did with corporate now? Mm-hmm. You've shifted into, I want my hair done. I want to lie down on the beach once a week, whatever it is. But do it guilt-free. And a lot of women have a problem with that.
That's the thing. Be unapologetic and do it guilt-free. And it's, again, I think I love this word balance, because you do have to still balance out what your responsibilities are. You can't just say, F off with the world, I'm going to go do me, right? So you do have a responsibility to others and to yourself. But I think if you make the choice, then do it guilt-free. Line up everything so that everything works.
Absolutely.
If you have a partner, a husband, a significant other, ensure that they're okay with what you're up to, because you don't want to, that's good grounds for, discontent in that situation. So the communication about that's important, but do take the time for you. It's not selfish.
It's not selfish. And the other thing that I have to say, Natalie, is that as women, we don't like to ask for what we want. We don't demand it. And it is I don't like to use the word right, but it is a right for us to say, look, if you're with a partner or your husband or whatever, they're not mind readers, Natalie.
Yeah.
Okay. They're a different species, let's face it. So we can't expect that if we want them to take out the garbage, or we want them to take the child back to bed, or we want them to bring home flowers, whatever, that we can't think it and expect it's going to happen. Right. But as women, we have a hard time to say, honey, what really worked well for me tonight is if you just took John Brown and put him back to his bed just so I could get 3 hours extra sleep. Or, honey, it would be super powerful if you just made dinner for me tonight just so I could put my feet up and watch Hallmark. But as women, we have a hard time verbalizing that. Yeah. I'm still learning to do it, and I'm married 31 years. Yeah. But in the second chapter, as I said, the chapter was all about focusing on others, the kids, the husband, the job, all of that. Mm-hmm. But in the second chapter, it's more about you. But we are only responsible for ourselves, Natalie. So if we don't speak up and ask for it, who are we going to blame? We can't blame them. Yeah. But a lot of women, when my husband doesn't understand me, or my husband doesn't, this, and my husband is, I'm like, well, have you spoken up?
Yeah.
No, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So it's about owning your role in this chapter 2 as well, because we are in charge of ourselves. So whether that is the self-care, mm-hmm. the exercise, the husband, the children. I mean, when you have grown kids, it's like, guess what? Your role is now also, we work together. What are you going to do for me? How are you going to support me?
Is this a good time as we fall in love with ourselves again? Is this a good time to fall in love with our spouse again? And I say our, for those of us that are married, the responsibilities of parenting do distract you from what comes with that marriage.
Let me tell you, just like with menopause, the onset of menopause, there I've said it, people don't like me to say it, but comes change, right? So your body changes and all of that. With a long-term relationship, whether you're married or not, that's just that's for some, it's a technicality. Your relationship is going to change. So as you start to change as a woman, emotionally and physically, your relationship automatically is going to change with your spouse. What are you going to do about that? Do you want to live the relationship? I'm married 31 years. My relationship with my husband is very different than it was when I first got married 30 years. It has grown. We have grown together. Yeah. Things that were super important to us then, not so much now. Things are super important now because we've grown together. And he's learning, I'm learning. And yes, it is a matter of redefining what this relationship is now. So like he said, he's getting older, I'm getting older, we're growing old together. So there's change.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
a lot, some women think that their relationship, maybe after 30 years, should be what was 30 years ago. It's not a reality, just like your body. You can't fit into the jeans you fit in 30 years ago. It's a reality, but how you embrace that and flow again, buying those flowy clothes, is the same thing. You redefine your relationship. So if that means you got to go back out on date nights, do your date nights. If that means kids are growing out of the house now, you're just sitting there doing the same thing every night, change it up a bit.
Yeah.
Reconnect. Whatever it is, you reconnect if you feel that you've been disconnected. Now, the chapter 2 is like the bomb for them because their marriage has just soared, which is fantastic. So that's awesome. And you embrace it and you love it and that's great. But there are some women who struggle with this change again because it's coming from within us. The emotions have changed. So I don't like how he leaves a towel on the ground anymore. I don't like how he, where he parks the car and we always have to go to where he wants to eat. Again, it's changed. What are you going to do about it? Speak up and out.
Speak up with a soft voice, though, like a voice that's coming from love. Because I think culturally, we exalt quarrelsome natures a little too much. I'm big and I'm bad and I'm going to push my way around. And that really does not engender or any sort of reciprocity of like that loving feeling that we want to be coming back. So I completely agree to speak up, and men don't read our minds and other women don't read our minds, like what's going on. But speak up with us soft, and not soft, quiet, but soft, like a place coming from a softer emotion, like love and caring and compassion and concern, because the last thing that we want to do is to engage in any sorts of, quarrelsome, because that really comes back on us.
Absolutely. No, well, I mean, when one of the things that I've been taught is, a process called yielding, which is basically going and saying, yielding. Do you really want to cause an argument over this? You have that. It's not a banter. It's not an argument. It's an acceptance. Again, if he's leaving the towel on the ground, is this an issue? Have a conversation. But we, as you said, we as women tend to come out with this sort of fighting nature. And again, it's a fighting nature. It's our maternal instinct. It's our woman instinct. Again, you talk about supporting one another, because your partner or your girlfriend or your whatever is going through change themselves.
Right. And listening to them is so important. I think something else that I think is very useful is to switch the roles and see how the receiver would receive the information. So if you are, if you're separated all day and then you get back together in the evening and all you ever do is hear about your husband complaining about something, is that time that you want to be spending? Therefore, why do you think he wants to hear about you complaining? So I'm not saying hide stuff, but I'm saying that there's got to be a balance between, we're going to talk about some of the things that we want to work on, and we're also going to talk about some of the things that are going really well, because you can train your mind to find things that are going really well. That's one of the keys to happiness, actually. Practice gratitude, like look for what's going well, because when you teach your mind to find just one thing that's going well, your mind is going to find a whole bunch of other things that you
absolutely. So again, with like the compliments, you get a compliment, you give a compliment. With gratitude, the more that you're thankful for, it's the more that it's going to come at you. But it's about having that conversation. I love that you said that. It's about having that conversation. Set your boundaries and have that conversation with your spouse or your partner or whatever. That these are the things that are upsetting me, and he says the same thing, and then it's change and you work together. It's not about criticism or judgment. Absolutely.
Goodness, no. So I guess in summary, chapter 2 can be an amazing phase of life. Chapter 2 is going to come with physical, emotional, hormonal, physiological. There's a lot of changes coming with chapter 2. And it can happen regardless of the number. It can happen in your 40s, 50s.
Absolutely.
Right? But it's
it
not
does.
something
40s,
to be afraid
50s,
of.
and 60s. Yep, absolutely.
Not
It's
something
good. Let me tell you something, Natalie. It's going to happen.
Right.
Guess what? It's going to happen. Your choice. I always say you have the choice to choose to change. That's my mantra. You always have the choice to choose to change.
Write that down.
Write that down. Because we always have the choice to choose whether we want to change what's going to happen with us. Because it's going to happen. Life is happening with or without us, Natalie.
Yeah.
And we get the choice. We've always been given the choice. If something is working, great, continue. If something isn't working, you have the choice to change that.
Right.
You know, so in this chapter 2, to me, at first it was very scary. And I was like, what's happening? I made the choice to choose to change my whole mind around it and embrace this beautiful aspect. I'm blessed. A lot of women don't get to live to 51. My mother died when she was 50. A lot of women don't get that blessing, Natalie. So why not embrace it? Embrace all the, and I don't want to use negative because it's going to happen, whether it's the weight or the hormones or whatever, it's going to happen. How you choose to show up, that's all on you.
Yeah. How you choose to show up and be bold. I love it. Nicky, thank you so much for airing some of the issues that have been taboo in the past. Thanks for telling us that we do have the power, that we can be bold, and that the help is there if you're struggling, if you're in the struggle and you want to talk things over. So Nicky, how do people find you?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Chapter 2 Unleashed. So that's my tag, Chapter 2 Unleashed. Email chapter2unleashed, Nicky@chapter2unleashed.com. I've kind of changed that because I've kind of done a little rebranding. Okay. And I'm actually going to be I'm going to be launching a 4-month group coaching with some one-on-one coaching starting January. So it's going to be a 4-month-long course where I'm going to teach you how to manage your chapter 2 from beginning incredible. As we go along, how to embrace it. So in the next month in December, I'm going to do some free masterclasses online. So everything will be at chapter2unleashed.com, Facebook, website, and Instagram. So anytime you look up Chapter 2 Unleashed, you'll find me. Absolutely.
Awesome. And we're going to put those links all down in the YouTube link here. So if you found any useful part of this conversation, it's been amazing talking with you, Nicky. Please like, follow, share, subscribe. Definitely share with someone that you think may want to hear, someone that you know maybe entering their chapter 2 and a little bit timid about what's coming. Because we don't like to talk about this stuff, but we got to talk about it.
It's real. It's happening, whether we like it or not. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you.
It's awesome that I've been able.
Always a pleasure talking with you. This has been Conversations in Wellness with spiritual life coach and mindfulness coach, Nicky Clarke. Till the next time, stay well.